Good evening, everyone. Good evening. I hope you've had a really lovely afternoon. Certainly the sessions that I've popped into this afternoon have been really lively and really engaging, and it's wonderful to see the way you're all going and talking to the corporate trade fair and getting involved, and it's really lovely to see the buzz around the place. In terms of Twitter coverage, we're doing okay. Michelle James is currently winning in terms of using the hashtag, so some of you have got some ground to make up. So if you could get on that quite soon, that would be great. Thanks as ever to our three headline sponsors today, to Furlong Solutions and to ABRSM and to Viscount Organs. We're very, very grateful for your support, as we are indeed for all of the sponsors and corporate members here. We are really fortunate to be welcoming today Yolanda, who's going to come and talk to us, an acclaimed musician, an award-winning broadcaster, a really big advocate for music education, a passionate speaker. Those of us who were in the EDI session earlier this afternoon have had a little glimpse of that, and I'm certain that we're in for a really wonderful time now. So we're going to see a short video first, and then we'll welcome Yolanda to the stage. But welcome to our first keynote of the weekend.
Oh, thank you very much. Thank you so much. Well, it's an absolute honor to be here. We had, as you said, a fantastic first session, so I've been looking forward to seeing your faces. I don't know if you thought it was going to be a comedy show or something. I'm not going to heckle and... But anyway, I don't take it too personally, it's okay. I would love to, I always find with keynotes, people always ask me, are you going to do slides? And it's not that kind of thing. I want us to leave with some food for thought, if that is possible. It might be something you've already considered and thought of before, that's fine. Or there might be a couple of nuggets that you might want to share with somebody that's not here today. So for me, I just want to inspire, motivate, and hopefully find a new perspective on certain things. Now, if you were here for our initial panel, you will know a little bit about my introduction to music education. But for those of you that weren't here, I'm a saxophonist. But from the age of 6, I started playing the piano traditionally. I like to say it like that. I started learning the piano traditionally, grades, scales, and the rest. Then I went on to add the drums to my repertoire about the age of 10. And then the age of 13, I'd found the saxophone. And there's one thing I realized throughout all of that journey. I hate scales. I didn't understand. I understand why. It's almost like learning Pythagoras' theorem. I remember asking my math teacher, why do we need to know this? I mean, am I going to build a roof that I need to know? Why do I need to? But we know that it helps eventually. But I do. I hate scales. But as musicians, we know we have to go through them. It helps make us strong, a bit like going to the gym. And so I'm going to base my keynote today on a very simple scale, C major scale. Okay, very simple. No accidentals, the kind that I like. Has anyone got perfect pitch in the room? Oh, hello. Hi. How are you doing? Now, we do. I have to bring you all in on the joke. So I remember dropping my wonderful daughter, she's 8, Jemima, goes to Chigwell School. And dropping off, and we met, didn't we? And he said, I'm so excited. You're going to be speaking at the Music Teachers Association. I said, yes, I am. Said, I'll be there. And I can't believe we've seen each other right here. That's brilliant. And you have perfect pictures like we set this up. We didn't. Okay. Right. Well, can you give me a C? Should we test him? I just saw a piano. I'd written, you might be wrong. Does anyone want to contest? That's all right, I'll give you that. My daughter's music teacher, ladies and gentlemen, they are. Right, well, brilliant. Well, C, that's where we start. C major scale. And there is a little bit of interaction, no heckling, but interaction. C, for me, is collaborate. Can everyone say collaborate? Fantastic, thank you. If you do want to write anything down, you can. I don't mind at all. Collaborate. As music teachers, sometimes, and a lot of people that I've met, they find it quite isolating. You know, we're in the music department, probably somewhere not close to the rest of the school, and where we take children out of their classrooms, we do some music and we put them back. But actually, I find that especially with the way that the conversation about music education is going. I've been on the advisory panel for the National Plan for Music Education. It's coming. It was a really refreshing discussion around the table, and everybody is talking about collaboration. How do we make sure that music hubs don't feel isolated, the ones that need support? How do we make sure that a school feels supported? How do we make sure that music teachers don't feel alone and can work with the history department or the geography department or bring music more into the school in assembly? How can we make sure that happens? A lot of what I concluded in our panel discussion earlier was that, and I say we, the music educators need at this point to be bold, and we need to be the ones to affect the change until the system catches up. Otherwise, we're just going to forever be saying, well, it's not working, it's not working. We have to find ways to work within the system until it catches up. So working with other music teachers, forums like this, coming to conferences where you can meet people, and don't just stay in your groups, meet people, speak about different ideas that you may have, and hopefully that collaboration will help support you in ideas that you may have, ideas that you hadn't thought of. And also find ways to bring your students together as well. You might be working underneath the same music hub, but the hub hasn't quite connected you yet. How can you make schools collaborate, students play together? Because at the end of the day, when we make music, it always sounds better when we're a band or an orchestra or together with accompaniment. Collaboration is important. So the C in our scale is collaborate. Oh, wow, I love this. This is great. Brilliant. So our next note in the scale is D. Anyone got that note? Yep. D is for diversity. Of course it's for diversity. But it's not just about in the concept of EDI. It's about how do we diversify what we do. As teachers, we know year on year, if we get a new student, how we're going to approach it. You know, a student is grade 5, okay, we get the pack, we're ready to go. But how do we diversify what that is? How do we look at a student and say, I can see that you're leaning to this particular way. I can see that you like this style of music. Or when you play, you have a natural vibrato. Have you ever tried this piece? It might not be in the syllabus. It might not be. But how do we diversify our teaching to make sure that it's tailor-made, really, for each musician? Because we're all unique. We all learn in different ways. The reason why an orchestra works, and I've been having a fun time being the host of a LPO offstage for the London Philharmonic Orchestra. The reason why there are so many string players, but each one of them has their own tone. It's why they go on trial to get their seat. They're not the same player just because they both play violin or viola. I should say viola. They're not the same player. So what is it unique that you're trying to get out of each of your students? Is it based in the repertoire? maybe they're learning the syllabus, it's not quite happening, but you know they're able, you know they're talented. Is there another piece of music that you need to find for them to get even further on? I keep harking back because I said half my keynote earlier, but I remember playing piano, and I love piano, I hate scales. So I really needed to play a piece in a new key so that I could understand the scale. And my teacher realized that I really like playing music that I've heard because I play a lot by ear. And I remember she was really heavily pregnant, probably just about to go into labor, and she was transcribing into the key that she wanted me to play in, Kiss from a Rose by Seal. And I still have it. It's in like, notebook paper this size, just handwritten out so that I would play in that key so I could play the scale for my exam to get further on, right? That nobody told her to do that. That wasn't written in the syllabus, but she knew she had to take that roundabout avenue to get young 7-year-old Yolanda to play the way that she needed me to play to get the grade. So I think that's really, really interesting that as music teachers, we're forever evolving, diversifying, and trying to find ways to get our students to learn the skill of music. I think that's really, really important. Times change, narratives change in terms of what we've been through. The Black Lives Matter movement, even just lockdown. What has that meant to our music making? The way we used to teach before 2020 can't be the way that we teach now. So much has happened, and we have to keep moving with those times. So that's my D, diversify. E. Oh, yes, I like this. Thank you. E is for ear. I love to go into schools, amazing schools like this, where they've got so much support, technology, resource, but my workshops are always about improvisation. And I know I go into a school or a conservatoire, and they've practiced and they know what they're going to play for me, and I love that, perform what you know, what you love. And the moment I say to them, now this is a workshop on improvisation, so we're going to just pack those stands to the side, please, and fold the books up, and just like, I didn't know my instrument could play without a book or without sheet music, It is so important still, as we're engaging in music, to keep listening. We know we should listen. We tell our students in ensembles, you must listen to each other, but also listen to yourself. We say it all the time. But practice is very different, I find. And I think we need to always keep bringing back the ear to listen and tell our students to listen. But when I say ear, I also mean to listen musically, yes, but also personally. As music teachers, you are the closest to your students. I don't know if you've realized that or experienced that, but a lot of the times, our students are sitting in a classroom with many, many students. They're not really getting the chance to collaborate or to put forward their ideas or to play a solo or to express themselves because they're told how to be. When I think about one-on-one lessons especially, you're seeing that student for the 15 minutes or the half an hour that they're there and sharing with them quite a lot of emotional language as they're learning their instrument. Again, I have another memory that I'd love to share with you. Saxophone lesson this time, and I remember I'd gone on to my, I call it rebel phase, which was that I didn't want to do grades anymore. I felt that I really wanted to, I'll tell the whole story again. I got the saxophone in the December to start the lessons in the January and made my way through the book, playing Pink Panther at the end. So my very first lesson, my teacher was ready to show me B, and I said, actually, I've got Pink Panther at the end. And the response is, grade 4, that's great. You can do grade 4 straight away. Let's do that now. And then when I realized that in order to do grade 5, after passing that, I'd need to have grade 5 theory, and that meant not playing the saxophone as much anymore till I got there, I decided that that didn't make any sense for me, and I was a teenager with a voice. And so I decided that I'd keep doing my lessons, but actually I don't want to work towards grades. What's the point of grades? Why do I need them? Nobody told me the answer, by the way. So I made this, I don't want to do grades, I just want to play, and my teacher, I could tell that it was very different to what she'd been through with other students, and she really took the time, found some backing tracks, Jamie Obersold at the time, And I remember her giving me this piece and said, right, you've got to learn the head and then you get to play what you want. That's what you'd been doing over the Christmas, playing along to your dad's record collection. I said, yeah, okay, great. So learned the piece. It was Misty. And I remember coming back to the lesson, playing the song. She said, okay, now within this scale, you can play what you want. Oh my God. You can play what you want. I absolutely loved it. But by the end of the song, I was in tears. I was really, really crying. I put my all into it, but it was emotional for me to be able to have that freedom and that liberation. Now, for the teacher, she thought, oh my God, safeguarding, what's happened? Is everything okay at home? Is your mum okay? Is your dad okay? Who hurt you? What's happened? So I said, no. I said, there's nothing. The little teenager, there's nothing wrong. And fantastically, and again, this is how malleable music teachers have to be. She had to cancel the next student and move their lesson until later on and took me down to the dining room and just sat me down and said, what is it? Why are you crying? I said, I don't know why I'm crying. There was something about that piece and that experience, because I'd played the piece at home and I didn't do that. Something about that experience at the time that just really made me emotional. That's all I could say. And she said, you know what that is? That's the power of music. She said, you have felt the power of music. And that emotion that you have there, you should try and find every time you play the saxophone. Oh, that changed music for me. But who knows that in the system of music education, there's no space for that. There's no space for that passion and that joy and that emotion and working through things. And I find that with that listening ear, you might be able to pick up on things that your students are going through. You might have to be the counselor. You might have to be the person that then sort of recommends them onto another department or goes and tracks things down on top of all the things that you have to do. But that ear is so important because music can really, really do that. And I think that, interestingly enough, I always remember that experience and I think, am I remembering it in the right way? Did I really feel that emotional? Was something wrong? It was the power of music. And interestingly enough, Jemima came home with her cello and she had been told to play a new piece. And it was it had lots of sort of slurs and nice movement to it. And so we listened to the track first and I said, oh, do you want to give it a try? She was playing it. She got 4 bars in and she started crying. And she said, I don't know why I feel this way. I mean, she's really beginner. She's been doing it for 2 terms, right? I said, Jem, that is the power of music. I got to pass on that wonderful piece of knowledge that I got from my teacher. And she understood it, interestingly enough. She understood it. And I said to her, it's everything. It's the vibration of the instrument. It's the way that you've entered in and you've played that note and it's just resonated out and shaken the room. And I'm here smiling at you, so proud of you. All of that has made you feel this way. And music can do that. But I want to make sure that when she now goes back to play for her teacher, she might not cry, but I want her to have that same feeling and that same emotion. And only a teacher that's open to that and a teacher that isn't thinking, well, there's so many things to think about, I know, but, open to really having an ear on that particular student will really be able to tap into it. Does that make sense? Great. I've spoken for a long time now. Can anyone remember where C was? Because we're at F. I'm going to play an F. I just want to play an F for you. F is for fun and future. Fun is important in music. When you think about how we interact with music outside of our music education, as a child, the first time is nursery rhymes or at a children's party. It's got fun attached to it. It's dancing, it's lively, it's really allegro, it's happy. When we think about when we engage with music growing up, it's, first of all, nightclubs, parties, fun times with our friends, and then we get to add our emotion to it. If we want a nice ballad, who's just broken up with a loved one or whatever it may be, music can really reflect that too. At weddings, at church, at amazing places, we hear music all the time and we engage with it in our various ways and how we feel that we want to. And so with music education, we also need to feel that too. somebody shared with me in the panel that they were told off for making teaching theory. For teaching theory and making it fun. I mean, why would you not want to make it fun? Because fun is how we learn. We learn from the things we enjoy. And so I think, there will be naysayers, and let's be real, if you're going to go against the grain in anything that we do traditionally in music education, you will hear about it. Your fellow colleagues will tell you about it. But if you know that you are affecting change and connecting with your students in a deeper way, no one can tell you anything else. And I think that, for me, has been what's guided me even in my career. So, as you know, I stopped the grades. I didn't then study the saxophone. I went on to university to study management science. And by the time I'd finished my undergraduate master's, which included a year studying in Oviedo in the north of Spain, I then thought, I don't know what I want to do. I'm going to do a PhD in management science. So I carried on to do a PhD. And it wasn't until that transition to starting my PhD, and actually in Spain, the only things I took with me were my clothes and my saxophone, which my parents had bought for me. And sometimes it was under the bed between the ages of 13 and 18. Sometimes I'd play it just for myself in my room. There was no sort of idea of how to engage with other musicians, really. I remember at university, at my first year of uni, I thought, well, actually, I'm going to give music a try again. I'm going to join the concert orchestra at the University of Kent. And so I went to the first rehearsal. And the first thing they asked me, do you know what they asked me? And so I said, I don't do grades. Just blank stare. I don't understand you. And so I couldn't interact. I had no basis to interact. Yet we were there to make music. This wasn't anything to do with studying. This was just an extracurricular activity. And yet I didn't feel at home with other musicians. I just thought, isn't that unfair? Isn't that unfair? Well, anyway, I still had the saxophone for myself. It was very therapeutic for me. And I took it with me to Oviedo. And I remember one night someone said, there's this place that's got a jam session. I'd never done a jam session before. So you could come along. I said, yeah, I will. And actually, I got my first video phone, actually, when I was in Oviedo. And I've still got this pixelated video because they don't translate now. And it's me in a lift saying, I'm about to go to this jazz club and play. Hopefully, I can play Misty. I think that's all I've got. But hopefully, it will be all right. And I rocked up there and in my best Spanish said, yeah, what key? And told them the key. And I think I said C. That's my favorite key. I think I said C. And so I played Misty. But actually, just being in a jam session with other musicians, I don't know how they learnt music or where they learnt music, but we both all knew the song. We couldn't all speak the same language, but we made music that night. And I just found that, again, so liberating and so exciting, and helped me make friends while I was studying in Spain. So music has to be fun. It has to be fun in order for us to engage. And if we take the fun out, then later down the line, it's quite hard to put the fun back in. So it's really important to establish that at the very beginning. And that, for me, is what drives me with Yolanda's Band Jam as we tour it live. I want those young band jammers and grown-up band jammers as well, the parents, just to feel free. You don't have to think about, am I allowed to dance? Should I dance? Should I not? Can I sing? No. Do what you feel you want to do in music. I find that is a great way to engage an audience. Fun and future. Progression is really, really important in music. As we're teaching our students, they're learning their grades, which is great. What do they want to do in music? They might just want to play for fun and just have a skill and be able to jam with their dad who plays really bad guitar. They might want to be in an orchestra. Well, you can help navigate that. They might want to write music for computers and gaming. Well, how do you show them what that looks like? Do you know anybody that's doing that at the moment? And put the feelers out. They might just want to be a performer, be in a band. How do we get them to go and experience gigs, experience live music? Nathan shared earlier about being 17 and experiencing Mike Phillips for the first time and just seeing how fun it can be. Well, we can do that from now, you know. And as well, if you have good relationships with your students' parents, that can also be something that you can really instigate and help nurture. But I find that also understanding what a career in the music industry is paramount. I had zero idea that you could do music as a career. I always thought that, you have to either study it and then do it, but it doesn't necessarily mean that you're going to be in an orchestra or in a band. I didn't know you could be a solo saxophonist. And actually, there might be a job that we've never thought of that person is. During lockdown, when lockdown was announced, we were on tour in Australia. And we'd done 2 weeks, had to cut the final week short and fly all the band, my children, my parents, my husband, everyone, back into lockdown. And it was scary because for the first time, I'm not touring anymore. I can't play music to a live audience. How do I pay the bills? How do I survive? And thankfully, I got a call from Sesame Workshop, who makes Sesame Street, asking me to write all the music and underscore for an animated series that they're doing called Bees Blog. Well, finally I had time. I'm not going to be on the road. I can dedicate the time. But I'd never considered a career as a musician creating music for animation. I love it. Well, I loved it. Deadlines are hard. But I absolutely love it. And it's the same music making that I would use to write an album or to write music for Yolanda's Band Jam. It's the same skills. It's just music making for those different areas. And so music can take you to so many places. Some people just want to be close to the music. They might want to be a lawyer in music. Or some might want to be accounting in the music industry. All of those things we can show these young musicians from an early age so they have something to see and progress to. And to see live performances, I think, is really, really important. So for me, fun and future on RF is really, really, really good. Just a question for you to take home. You don't have to answer it right now, but why did you get into teaching music? Is a question to ask yourself. And then also check back in. Is it still the same? Because, when we get in, we realize that there's a lot more to deal with than just imparting knowledge. But it's okay that the why has changed, but it's always good to make sure, why am I doing this? Do I still feel the same way? Am I able to give as much as I wanted to give? That's important. And the second question to take away is to complete this sentence. Music makes me something. What does music make you do or make you feel or make you see? Or what is it about music that keeps you there? Because when you can tap into that, that's your fun. That's your passion. That's the thing that really put you there and made you want to do what you're doing. All right, we're nearly towards the end of the scale, nearly. We've got a G. Yeah, I know. I don't know either. G is for grow and gig. Can you tell me? Thank you very much. It's so important to keep on growing and keep on developing for our students, yes, but for us as educators. Did anyone pick up a new skill in lockdown? Yeah? Oh, lovely. Does anyone want to share? What did you do? Breaking bread. Love that. Very nice. Anyone else? Fusing. I've just been watching. Have you seen Blown Away on Netflix? Oh, love it. Oh, really interested. Anyone else? That's all right. Okay, no problem. That's fine. Well, it's really important to keep chasing our interests. It might be in music. It might be picking up another instrument. Just experiencing what it's like to be a beginner again. Sometimes that's a really important thing to take away because, it's not easy to pick up an instrument. Also, in terms of developments in technology, yes, we teach the way we teach, but how has technology changed, enhanced, worsened the way that we teach music? Our students are hearing music in a different way than we did. They can literally click a button and hear whatever they want. We used to have to save our pocket money and buy records and, get to the store or get told off for playing your parents' records, all of that. It's so different now. How do we tap into what that means for modern day? I think that's really, really important. And again, the gigs is just for live music experiences. How do we make sure as a school or as a music teacher, that we can engage in live music? Can we bring artists to us? Or can we engage with artists to have them bring their students to them? I get calls all the time. Can we bring our students to a gig? Can this student just follow you for the day just to see what's happening? Can they come to the studio and see how animation works? Yes, they can. Yes, they can. Because it is about them seeing it and experiencing it so that they can live it in the future. So finding those experiences is important. And play it. Yeah, very nice, very nice. A, repeat after me, is for abracadabra. Yes, I know it makes no sense, but it will in a minute. Music is powerful. It's like magic. It can speak to you in a way that we can't put into words. It's amazing. The power to move people with music, to inspire them, to change minds, to heal, to start conversations. Music has the power to do that. So to make music, technically, is a superpower. You following? So that means you're all superheroes. You are. To be able to teach somebody how to use the power of music to do those things is a Mr. Miyagi thing. Yeah? It really is. And so I just want to take this moment to be proud of you, to congratulate you. In fact, give yourselves a round of applause. Yeah. Even though it doesn't feel that way at times, you are so important to wherever you are based, whether it be bringing musical entities together, teaching students one-on-one, teaching classes. That power of music, whether people want to recognize it or not, whether government want to recognize it or not, we know the power of music. I remember going into label meetings. I'm an independent artist for my grown-up music. I have a split personality at the moment. For my jazz, reggae, jazz and soul, I'm an independent artist, always have been. And I remember going into labels and they'd say, who's your target market? And I would say, everyone. I'd stand on a stage like this, look out, and I will see everyone. I'll see the 7-year-old that's just started playing the saxophone and their parents have brought them to my concert for their first experience. I'd see people coming out for an office party, people on their first date, and I've had a couple of proposals in my concerts too. I've seen the jazz connoisseur that loves jazz, but the wife hates it, but actually this is something that they can both enjoy. Everyone is in the audience, but they didn't want to hear it. They said, no, that's not possible. It is possible. I'm telling you it's possible. Some things you have seen with your students, no one will believe you. But that's fine, because not everybody understands magic. So be proud and know that you're important. And don't take that power for granted, as hard as it is sometimes. Don't take that power for granted. Every single day you wake up with the power to be able to just play an instrument is an absolute blessing. So continue to touch base. Remember your why. Music makes me what? That's what I'm going to tap into at that hard point when you're just not making any headway with what you want to do. But also, deep down, people do know the power of music. So expect to have to do magic. There's no resources. There's no money. But can you teach my school music? There's no resources. There's no money. But can you just give a couple more hours and find some instruments for the students? It always seems like that, doesn't it? We're expected to do magic, but we can be industrious, meet people, find ways that other people have done things. Until the system catches up, we are going to have to do magic. But we can, because music is that powerful. And we can make things happen. I think also reach out to other industries. Don't just see it as its own musical ecosystem. Reach out to industries. Is there any way that you can get help, find funding? You finally found a concert that's coming to town that you want your students to go to. Is there a local business that will support the ticket funding if the school won't support? We have to be entrepreneurs in music all the time. That being said, enjoy the journey. It can be tiring. Sometimes you can be on autopilot. Sometimes things won't work, but that is part of it. And I think especially having lived through the last couple of years that we have done, it's time to look at the glass half full. No more crisis talk about music education. How can we make the change? How can we make it happen? Who do I need to collaborate with? Where do I need to be? That's on us, the educators. So now I'm at my final note. B. Anyone got it? B, after all those things that I've said to you today, B is for be yourself. Again, harking back to the orchestra. How many violinists can be in one orchestra? Ask each of them to play that C major scale we've just worked through just now, and it will sound different. Because of the instrument they play, because of the resonance that they have, especially saxophonists. For years, I was thinking, why can't I sound like Coltrane, Bird, Grover Washington? Why can't I? Well, I can't because my skull is a different size and a different shape. And the resonance that's going around my brain is not going to make the same sound. But what do I sound like? And can I find people that want to hear that? That's how I've been an independent artist for all this time. So what is it about yourself that makes you unique? What is it about yourself that just really makes your students work at their best? And don't be afraid, and I say this to parents, so I'm going to say it to the teachers. When you're trying to find a student to match with a teacher, as a parent, I always say, don't be afraid to try a few people, you know? Because we all have different personality traits. We do. We all see music and hear music in different ways. And so it is about making sure that we can speak that same language. Okay, you can learn, you can adapt to make sure you can serve your students. But if it really isn't working, a student that plays classical French horn now wants to play jazz, but you don't think you can do it. I think you can, by the way, with a little bit of open-mindedness. But who else can you bring on board to collaborate with you to help that student be the best they can be? It's important. But let's know what makes you unique. There's one phrase that I want you to take away with this. An apple is a fruit, but so is a mango. Can you say that? An apple is a fruit, but so is a mango. We're all musicians. It doesn't matter what grade you are, how good you are, if you're new to the instrument, we all have something unique to share. And I want you to share that to your students as well. I was not the best saxophonist in my school. You can ask my teacher. I was not. But it's not just about being the best. It's about what does your passion say? What's your drive? What do you want to be? What's unique about you? That's what's going to carry you through. So we've learned from this keynote that it's important to learn your scales so that you can play the right chords. And if we think of the chords as our students, then each chord uses different components. So sometimes you might need a bit more C or a bit more G or a bit more D. And so it all works in different ways. So with the right scales and chords, we can make perfect harmony. Thank you so much. Thank you. I was going to make them sing the scale and the words, but we would take some questions. We'll take some questions first.
I think we're out of time.
Oh, we're out of time. Okay, no problem. Well, thank you very much for listening to me. Thank you. If you have got any questions, you can message me either through social media or on my website, or get in touch through Music Teachers Association. Thank you very much.
Wow, what a privilege. Thank you so much, Yolanda, for that excellent keynote. So much energy, so much enthusiasm, so much passion. And I've just done a tweet myself. There's a clue for everybody. To no more crisis talk in music education. How can we make a change? That's what I'm taking away from that, and that's what we're here for. So let's make sure we do that as a result of this weekend. Thank you so much for your time and your wonderful words. Thank you. We now head back out for a drinks reception, sponsored by Furlong Solutions. And then, while we're out there, this will be transformed so that when we come back in at 7, we get to hear and see a wonderful performance from pupils here at St Edward's. So if we head outside for drinks now, we'll be back in here at 7. Thank you.